is off.
Yeah.
It is. Okay, we're set to go. John, we're ready.
What you done for donations?
Okay, good.
Oh, did need some donations, okay.
Is that okay? Anything else? Good evening, everyone. We'd like to welcome you to the Fairmont Area School Board meeting this Tuesday, March 13th. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For roll call, we have all members present with the exception of Julie Lowy and Rufus Rodriguez. For minutes, has anyone had the opportunity to review those?
Motion to approve the minutes of the February 27th, 2018 school board meeting?
Thank you, Dell.
Second.
Second, Danielle. All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. You have the amended agenda in green before you. Any additions or changes? We have Dan presenting for donations. Superintendent Brown will present for the financial reports, and Dell will present on the personnel. Anything else?
I move to approve the agenda as offered.
Second?
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. All right. We are going to move on to Superintendent's Report and the board meeting calendar.
Thank you, Mrs. Green. The school board calendar, if you look at your pink sheet, we have a number of important meetings coming up in the future. Let's see here. Tomorrow is very important. We're asking school board members, if they can, to tour Lincoln School. There'll be school board members from all 6 of the school districts that are part of the Southern Plains Education Cooperative. And the opportunity to take a tour of Lincoln School and to work with the architect and work with the construction folks. You can go either at 2 o'clock or at 5 o'clock. It's simply a walkthrough of the building. Remember, the building's been closed for the last year, so you might want to dress appropriately. You know, I wouldn't wear your best suit. But this is a great time to answer any or ask any questions that you have and to get a feel for the potential rehab of the Lincoln School to become the new home of the Southern Plains Vocational Center.
Do we know about how long, Joe, that tour will take?
I would say about an hour, maybe. I think it depends, Dan, on the number of questions that you have and comments, and we certainly would invite the news media, members of the news media, to come along and take photos or to interview people as we walk along. Once again, there'll be school board members and superintendents from all 6 of the districts attending those 2 meetings. The Thursday, we're canceling the Policy Curriculum Committee meeting on Thursday due to the fact that we've been asked to go up to the Capitol again to testify in support of House File 3190, which we'll hear a little bit more tonight about the status of that piece of legislation that we're promoting. So we'll reschedule that meeting. And then we're going to add one on Tuesday, March 20th. Tuesday, March 20th, the school board is invited to have lunch at the high school with students. Once again, Tuesday, March 20th, high school lunch with the students, with the school board. And then, of course, April 11 is the ACE event, and that's always a wonderful event. Mr. Trado is heavily involved in the ACE event, serves on that committee, and that's when we have schools. And you might want to talk about that a little bit, Andy, when you can, about how many schools and how many students and how many vendors are probably going to be there. But that's a really nice regional event. So that is the calendar. Any questions on the calendar? If not, I'll go to the enrollment report. Copies of the enrollment report have just been distributed earlier tonight. And we are now serving 1,672 students, 820 students at the high school. We're down 1 student at the high school, and we're down 3 students at the elementary. At the elementary, we have 852. The largest class is grade 4 at 140. And at the high school level, the largest class is the 11th grade class, so 142. So we have some nice class size numbers going through the pipeline.
I think what's interesting to note is that we are very close to where we were last year, total enrollment at the same time. So we're not losing students, we're actually three more ahead.
That's correct.
Three ahead
Mhm.
of where we were last year, which is very good news for a rural area.
It's very good news, especially for South Central Minnesota, because we do track the enrollment of our colleagues around the area, and most of them are losing students. And we have a very strong enrollment, and that, of course, that's how we get money. So that's important. So that's all I have for you.
All right,
Yep.
thank you. Moving on to financial business, donations, Dan?
We have two donations to act upon here today, in Appendix A and Appendix B. First, I introduce the following resolution and move for its adoption. Whereas the National FFA Foundation has donated $1,000 to the Fairmont High School FFA program, be it resolved by Fairmont Area School Board to gratefully accept this gift.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. We'll take a roll call vote. Del?
Aye.
Danielle? Aye. Chair votes aye. Dan?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.
And in Appendix B, I also will introduce the following resolution and move for its adoption. Whereas Project 1590 has donated $1,178 to the Fairmont High School FFA program, be it resolved by Fairmont Area School Board to gratefully accept this gift.
Second. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Del?
Aye.
Danielle? Aye. Chair votes aye. Dan?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Now we will move on to financial reports and bills. Superintendent Brown?
Thank you, Nicole. First of all, you'll have in your packet the cash balance by fund report for February 2018, and if you flip that over, you'll get the expenditure report. And in February, our monthly expenditures were $2,263,000. Our year-to-date expenditures, $15,159,000. So we're right below 60% of our budget, which we're right on track for our budget for the fiscal year. The wire and transfers for February 23 through March 8th, our net payroll is $562,000. We did receive $869,909 from the state of Minnesota. And our total expenses, including payroll and benefits, $1,100,000. The next item in your packet are single checks, and single checks are written due to the timing of invoices. The third one I'll just call your attention to. We did a single check on $150 so that the elementary could have cash for the book fair that concluded last week, and that was an extremely successful book fair that we had. I don't know the actual dollar amount, but I know the media center folks were smiling all week, so we'll see. P card, the couple of items on the P card, there is a, I think it's on page 4, there is a reference to the Kalahari Resorts and Conventions. Our 3 technology folks attended the Brainstorm Technology Seminar over in Wisconsin, and that's what the P card checks are for, $810 for the conference and $379 for lodging. So actually it's lodging for all 3 and registration. But anyway, I talked to the technology people, and they were really pleased. In the past, they've gone to the TIES conference, and this year they decided to go to the Brainstorm conference in Wisconsin. So envision 800 techies like Will and Lee all together in one room. That had to have been a fascinating conversation. Okay, the check register. Call your attention to a number of items here. The ones, check number 60855 made out to DeWar. Of course, DeWar is one of our local electric companies here, and that check is made out to, it's a partial payment of $213,000, and that is to cover a partial payment of the LED project, which is currently being implemented throughout both buildings. It would be interesting to hear the results, and if you get a chance to talk to faculty. I was in the wood shop a about a week ago, and the LED lights had just been installed. It's almost like walking into an operating room. It's so bright in there. It's really kind of neat. The check number 60902 is a check for state wrestling, and it's for our coaches and wrestlers, $4,079. Congratulations to our Red Bulls for their wonderful tournament play. And the other check I want to call your attention to is check number 60925, made out to Region 3A. We hosted a boys basketball playoff game, and of course we have to turn those receipts over. We collected $1,786. I'd be glad to try to answer any questions.
There are no questions. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the February 2018 Treasurer's Report, single checks, wire transfers, and payments for the March 13, 2018 bills as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Okay, moving on to new business. We have a report on House File 3190 from Mr. Bonine and Mr. Tradow.
Well, good evening. How are you guys tonight?
Doing well.
So just to kind of recap, Joe's talked to you a little bit about the House file that we went up and spoke on. I want to back up a week before that. We were fortunate enough to go up to Alexandria, Minnesota a week prior to that, and we were at the vocational school, and Joe and I had taken in a seminar up there, and then we had a chance to go through the different programs at Alexandria Vocational School up there, Alexandria Technical College. And it was nice to see former students real successful up there at Alex Tech. Ran into Austin Phillips. I was down there looking at the mechatronics program, which we have part of that, and they were talking about Austin and his work ethic and how well he was doing and how he would already have a job lined up. And then, of course, stopped down to the welding program where we've had quite a few kids recently go through there. The most recent grad that we had go through there is Chris Edisvold, and how Chris is back in the area now, and Austin Phillip will be going up there. So they were looking forward to seeing some of our kids up there. And we talked to them about some other students. We have some police guys that are up there right now, and we didn't get a chance to go visit them. But we did get a chance to stop over to their high school then, which it was not my first time going through that Taj Mahal High School in the state of Minnesota. But it was really cool because this time I got to see it with students in it, and we got to interact and see some of their kids in action. And then, of course, we went into their, for myself, went into their technical wing and kind of got to compare notes. And happy to report back to you guys, I think we have the best students in the state. Just the demeanor of the students that were around us as adults that were kind of dressed up, I thought I would have seen maybe a little higher level of expectation. And I know that when our kids are going down the hallway and they see an adult that comes in that's a stranger, it seems like maybe our language is a little better than what I heard in those hallways. Even to the point of they're walking by some kids and them going, "Who are you? What are you here for?" You know, instead of that, maybe the more, "Hey, what can I help you with? What are you looking for?" And so I'm really proud to tell you that, you know, going to another school and coming back, we really have great kids down here in Fairmont. The other thing was, when we compared our shops to the shops that we saw up there, we are truly blessed down here in southern Minnesota to have maintained our vocational department through those tough 80s and 90s where we had budget cuts and we lost a lot of programs in the vocational world. We have pretty top-notch stuff. And it was fun to have it echoed to us when we went through that door. One of my counterparts, colleagues up there at Alexandria, who's actually gone through the mechatronic program with me, first thing he asked when we came through the door is, "How are you guys doing your welding program down there?" And actually he met with Joe for a while and they talked about how we do our welding academy. So it was pretty cool to be 4.5 hours from Fairmont and people asking, how is Fairmont doing it? So then that kind of ties into where we were with the House file. We were asked to come up and, well, actually, kind of back it up, we had Representative Peggy Bennett, Representative Bob Gunther come down to our Saturday Welding Academy, and they toured it with Mr. Brown and Mr. Trado, and apparently they liked what they saw. They talked to us about it and invited us then to come up and speak before two House committees with education. And so I just kind of spoke to them about the needs. You know, what was the history of Fairmont's program and how we were a strong base vocational program for years, and then how our needs came back around to where we are now, where we need that Saturday and that summer academy welding, and how we do our current programs and how successful they are. We talked about the lack of skill sets in those areas. And it's not just in Fairmont, it's throughout the state of Minnesota, and Mr. Trado can speak more to that, because I was fortunate enough to go with Mr. Trado to a CTE summit earlier this year where we heard some very alarming figures about the work shortage that's going to be happening in the manufacturing vocational areas in the state of Minnesota. So we feel it locally. You guys have been hearing me preach about it for a while, very passionate about what I do, but our manufacturing area is saying, hey, we need more skilled laborers, we need more welders, not 6 months from now, but last night. I was just talking with Clay Emler today, and he said, hey, you got somebody to fill in the night shift starting tonight. So, you know, we have the need here. So we then have to try to help plug that hole up, which is our training. So our training that we're doing at the high school is directly affecting our local economy, but it affects the state economy and, you know, then globally beyond that. So it was kind of fun just to kind of talk to them about how we've built our program up to this point. And of course, a lot of that came from, you know, hard work by you board members and by Superintendent Brown, and of course, you know, the communities stepped in and kind of helped us build that program. But it's with that quality programming that we provide that we're able to pull students from Blue Earth, from Grenada, from Truman, from the, you know, the local areas. I got an email when we got back from this Senate, or from the House committee meeting, from a parent from Martin County West already wanting to sign up their daughter, who's a freshman, for our summer welding academy, which we haven't even put together yet. So, you know, the need is there. And so now we just have to show the state of Minnesota that the need is there for us to provide the funding for those summer academies, and not just in welding. The need is there in heating, ventilating, and air conditioning. The need is there for plumbing. The need is there for contractors. The need is there for finishers, for framers. The need is there in our agricultural area. Just even as simple as the guy that's assembling on the line. When you go talk to Waitronics, and you go talk to Egco, and you talk to Zerkes, or you go down here to GKN, or just out here to 3M. It's even the general assembler on the line that has just basic mechanical skills. And where are they going to get those at? And that's right down there in that good old hallway in the South Wing in Fairmont High School. So that's kind of what I testified with. I am proud to say that we took 2 students with us who did an outstanding job, Adam Carstensen and Anna Nordquist, and they were stars, of course, and somebody will speak to that. But I want to mention one neat thing about Adam Carstensen. I didn't realize that Adam had put in so many hours into the vocational education program at Fairmont. He was testifying before the House committees, and since he was a 9th grader, he has logged 700 hours in our vocational programming, whether it's the woods or the agriculture, the small engines, the auto mechanics, or the welding. And he has attended every summer and every Saturday welding academy that we've had. So, I mean, how impressive, and he's going to go on and be a welder. So, but that's all I've got. So any questions before I step back, I'd be glad to answer.
I'd just like to make a comment that one of the things that I think is so important as to the way that we have our vocational wing is that it's part of our school. And students don't actually go to a vocational school, because high school and junior high are really the time for students to explore their areas of interest, and they get to do it for free. And how important it is that we have a very strong vocational program where students otherwise might not even know that they have an interest in those areas. And so I thank Superintendent Brown, the board, the teachers, you, Mr. Bonine, and the administration for making that available to students, and that we need to continue to look for ways to give students more opportunities to continue to explore their interests.
You know, something you said there that I'd like to, respond to. You said the students need to take those classes to find out what they like, what they could be good at. And that was one of the things I talked to, that I addressed up there that meetings was, some of our students get jammed up. We know that. Every student that walks through our doors is not a 4-year college-bound kid that's, time management and knows how to, do their homework. We have a lot of kids that are going to be hands-on learners here in Fairmont. They probably need to take the classes that we offer down there worse than any other thing. That's probably their top priority that they should be doing, is figuring how they do that. But we get them jammed up because they might flunk a 9th grade class. So now we're taking as a 10th grader, we're taking the 9th grade class plus the 10th grade class. Now I'm not doing so hot in that, and I get jammed up again. Pretty quick, I can't take a vocational class, or should I say even an elective, whether it's band, choir, some music or some phy ed class. They just get jammed up and they can't get it in their schedule. So this bill will create opportunities for them when they do get jammed up to still be able to come beyond that and take that class that is necessary, which probably is going to turn around and cause in them the desire to come to school for that class. It might turn them around, can't guarantee that, but at least they're going to have some kind of a skill beyond high school without ever having to go to college, to help them in the workforce. Maybe it's just a starter job, but at least it gets them, off the unemployment ranks and into a working skill, and we plug a hole in the community where we don't have that unemployment rate where it is. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, so I'll just continue to add on some of the things that Mr. Bonine spoke to. Reflecting on the experience that we had last Thursday at the state capitol was really unique experience, and I learned a lot through that process. I had been at the Capitol before when legislation was in session, but never had I been privileged to be a part of any hearings or the committee meetings where the bills and and statutes are enacted. So that was unique for me personally, as well as for our students to have the opportunity to be there and testify on their own behalf and for all of their counterparts and their students back here at the school. Some of the things that we highlighted on, I knew Mr. Brown had, been communicating with some of our local legislators in regard to extended revenue funding for courses offered outside of the school day. It was a bill that's already in place for other programmings through area learning centers during the summer months and whatnot. But so the goal is we're trying to extend that for career and technical education courses. And the fact that this has been a multi-year process in the making to get us to this point, to be in front of legislators, hearing our thoughts and factual information from what we're doing here in Fairmont. As Mr. Bonine said, it's amazing to be a part of a statewide piece where so many people are looking at our school district as a model for how to grow these programs and to really work to narrow the gap of our skilled labor force. Some of the highlights from the portions that we talked about, in 2014, the state of Minnesota enacted the World's Best Workforce legislation, which gave us 5 pillars of goals to look at. And one of the things that this bill really focuses on is that career and college readiness piece. Our own, Minnesota Department of Education says we really need our graduates of tomorrow to be leaders of our workforce. And in order to do that, they have to have the skills. As Mr. Bonine also alluded to, the shortage of skilled workers is astounding. And across all work-related fields, Real-Time Talent, which is a Minnesota-based company, looks at the skilled workers shortage, whether it be in education, in really, industrial, all areas of work. By the year 2022, our state alone is looking at a worker shortage of over 270,000 jobs. In the seven county metro area, in the next 2 years, they're looking at over 60,000 jobs that there's a shortage of in terms of needs of filling. So the more we can accelerate the acquisition of skills for our kids, the sooner that they can apply those, whether it be in their continued education or in a workforce-related area. One of the things that we have also built on is our local collaboration. We have different, local entities that work with us within our schools, send their employees in to work with our kids to help develop those skills. We've also met with, local electricians, plumbers, welders to make sure that the direction our kids are heading are in compliance with what their expectations are moving forward. So that's been a great way to really develop these enriching experiences. One way, to review these courses, as Mr. Bonine says, by offering them outside the school day, is students that don't have as much space in their schedule can take them. Another spin on it too is to look at how these can be enriching opportunities for students to take their learning beyond where they currently are. Our students are proving they have the skills to be successful. When we look at our data from our ACT scores, statewide, the ACT average is 21.5. The National Career Readiness Indicator says that with that number, our kids are ready to join the workforce if they so choose out of high school. Couple of my favorite stories with this is we've had students in our welding academy specifically that have been offered outside of the school day. We've had students that are at the top of their graduating class take these courses and have the opportunity to work on passion projects that have either come through their family lines or that they've really taken to. One of our students now is making custom mini smokers in the Saturday Welding Academy, and that's not a traditional welding project, but because they're involved in it, they're able to do that. But perhaps my favorite one is last year, when I was in Mr. Bonine's welding shop, is we had a student in our building identified with special needs that had the gloves on, had the mask on, was demonstrating proper welding technique to all of our introductory level welders. So to offer students opportunities on both ends of, regardless of their learning capabilities, for them to be able to be successful in these settings is truly amazing. And the fact that students look to each other regardless of their class rank or their academic abilities in our core instructional areas, but to watch them collaborate in these hands-on settings is a really unique aspect of what these courses have to offer. So just to continue, like what we advocated for is really not to really create something new, but to allow us to build on what we already have moving forward through increased revenue from the state of Minnesota. And the proposal is not for us to make money as a school district, but to be able to simply offset the costs that we're putting into investing in these programs that happen outside of the school day, so that we can continue to offer them moving forward. As Mr. Brown alluded to on the career and college readiness piece, we do have a couple events coming up in the next month that really speak to that and continue to promote the trades and really all profession opportunities for our kids. On Wednesday, April 11th, our 10th grade students, as they do every year, plus other additional classes, will be able to access our area career exploration event that we host at the Fairmont Junior Senior High School, where students from 13 different schools, approximately over 380 students, will take part in the event, where they get to learn about and explore different careers. And then something that we're going to be hosting for the first time the following Wednesday is a Construct Tomorrow event. Our students have had to travel to different locations in the past to experience this, but it's where the area trade worker unions send representatives from 5 to 10 different trades, and they set up actual hands-on activities for our students to take part in. So all of our students enrolled in our career technical education courses will have access to that event, as well as any other students that would like to take part in it. One example is they mention masonry work. Like that trade worker union physically brings in brick and mortar, and students get to go through the process of physically stacking bricks to learn the specific skill with that. Electricians come in and have circuitry set up, so it's a definite hands-on experience. So those are some exciting things coming up to continue to expose our students not only to the trades, but also other career fields that they will potentially explore.
Who can participate in that?
In the Construct Tomorrow event,
Uh-huh.
we have it structured right now where all of our students in our career and technical ed courses will take part in it. And then we're drafting a way for other students that have interest as we begin to promote it in the coming weeks, that they could also sign up to take part in that.
So that's all grades, not just the 10th.
Correct. The
That
area
are in
career
there.
exploration is designated for all of our 10th graders, plus other classes that have career-related connections that come to that. And that's been traditional in my entire tenure in administration in our district, that it's traditionally been 10th graders that have, because it's designed to be an exploratory experience for them, to talk with different employers in the area and help kids understand that, you know, the areas of Martin County and the surrounding counties, we really have a vast array of professional opportunities for them to come back to someday, is the hope that our local kids, you know, after they gain the skills, want to come back to our area and contribute to the schools and the communities that help bring them up.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Moving on to personnel. Dell?
We have a retirement, and I would like to move to approve the retirement of Terry Blair, Title I aide, effective May 31st, 2018.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? I just wanted to point out that when Terry retires, that will be 25 years worked with the district, and thank you
wow.
very much.
Yeah, indeed, thanks.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
And moving on, we have a resignation, and I would move to approve the resignation of Amy Anderton, chemistry physics teacher, effective June 4th, 2018.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Okay, moving on to board committee reports, staff welfare committee. Dell?
We met on March 7th, and this was just a general meeting about the staffing needs that for 2018-2019 school year. Currently, the high school is in the midst of finishing up the school registration needs, so we'll know more about what we're going to need for next year. And that's kind of it. A lot of information and a lot of thought, but trying to plan for the year to come.
Okay. I met with the CER Advisory Committee on March 8th. We talked a lot about the ACE program day that's coming up, and it really is a wonderful opportunity for our area. It's not just Fairmont, as was talked about. It's maybe 12 schools. It's a lot that come to our school and participate and find out what Fairmont or what Martin County area employers are looking for. And we also talked about the STEAM event held at the elementary school. It was canceled due to inclement weather, and I am sorry, I don't have a date. Maybe I do. Anybody know the date?
It's in April.
April 16th, maybe? Anyway, watch for it. It's very fun. We have a lot of hard work that goes into that night. There's a lot of area engineers, science, technology, people that are there that really excite the kids in that area of learning with a lot of hands-on activities. We also talked about the Family Fun Fair, which is coming up. That is an annual event that many, many families and children look forward to. And also look in your mailboxes for the flyer. It'll be coming out very soon for all the activities that are available for CER for this spring and summer. And that's about it there. Any questions for those committees? Okay, moving on to other business. I just have one thing that I'd like to address, and that is as it was reported in the newspaper about tomorrow, there might be some student-led demonstrations throughout the country, and the administration announced to the students today concerning that, and I just want to reiterate some things that they said, and that is that demonstration comes with a choice that is accompanied by a consequence associated with one's citizenship. We want students to know that they do have this wonderful opportunity to speak out in this country, and that's a blessing that we have. But they're also with every choice there are consequences. And they said, quote, as citizens, we are empowered to determine if our choices are worthy of the consequences. And we hope that parents will meet and talk with their students, have some conversations about the issues, not only about the issues that might be demonstrated tomorrow, but just about all the issues going on in our country today. And we want parents to know, and students have been notified, that we will be holding class as usual tomorrow and be following our attendance policy, which states if you're absent from a class for more than 5 minutes, you will get detention. But that students can determine if that choice is worth that consequence if that's something that they feel passionate about. And that's about all I have to say. Do you have anything to add to that, Superintendent Brown?
So if they went out 5 minutes at a time and came back 5 minutes at a time?
Every
come back
single
5 minutes
period,
at a
they'd
time?
have to do that.
Okay, they could get the 70
I
minutes now.
believe there is a set time across the country that they are hoping that this will
I'm just
this will
thinking.
take place, but, so anyway.
The only thing else I want to add is in reference to the bill draft that is going through the legislative process. Fairmont's also been invited to appear in front of the Senate Education and Policy Committee this coming Thursday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And one of the cute stories that came out of that hearing last week is as we're leaving the state capitol, Adam Carsonson is looking at his cell phone and he says, "Oh my goodness, my grandma watched me testify and she lives in California." And that was pretty cool. So if you're interested, you can always watch the testimony. It is streamed live, and they also archive it, so you can always go to the Minnesota House or Senate to look. But we feel really good. I was so proud of our students and our administration team and our teacher that went up there. As we were driving up to the cities on last Thursday, I mentioned that we're going to the sausage factory, and somebody asked, "What does that mean, going to the sausage factory?" And I said, well, there's an old quote by Mark Twain, that there are two things you should never watch being made: sausage and law. And when you get to the Minnesota Capitol, there's 201 legislators. There's 67 in the House and 134 in the House and 67 in the Senate. We did get a chance to visit the governor's office, and that was kind of fun. Didn't see him, but we got to visit his office, and I got to walk around the building. There's not a protest, but it was International Women's Day, and so there were hundreds of people there promoting, asking Minnesota to catch up to Texas and to pass the Equal Rights Amendment for women. But anytime you visit the Capitol, it's an open public building, and there's literally hundreds of people visiting. There's hundreds of lobbyists, and I want to thank our local legislator, Representative Gunther, and my personal local state representative from Albert Lee, Representative Bennett, for sponsoring this legislation. We were also sitting down having lunch at the cafeteria in the Capitol, and here comes State Senator Julie Rosen through the lunch line. And so we invited her to sit with us, and we sat for about 45 minutes, and she asked us our opinion about, she's working on some legislation for mental health, to making sure that we get enough mental health services for our school students. And that certainly is a hot button issue right now. And it was just fun. We're fortunate in Minnesota to have such a clean, honest, ethical, hardworking legislature. And I'm going to feel really good about them after they pass our bill.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, this is the kind of bill that should have bipartisan support, I would think, because it's beneficial not only to education, but it's beneficial to businesses who can grow faster and make more money, which is what they're in business for. And I think it's an excellent example of seeing a solution and being very pragmatic.
Right.
To not, just go by, well, my philosophy is this. No, it's people working together that see a problem and figure out a way to fix it. And it's something for the benefit of many that has, no downside. So I certainly hope that it gets passed with great haste and great enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
And as a board, we just need to recognize and thank the people that are going up and testifying and putting the hours in, the students that went there too. But Joe, I definitely want to single you out. You're working over and above what we usually expect you, but the end result is that we see a need here locally for our vocational, what we have to offer and what we want to offer. So thanks to you, and as a board, we really want to work through and do the best we can for our kids in the community. And this is really a good job that you're doing. Please keep up the good work.
Thank you. All right. If there's no further discussion, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned at 5:39 p.m.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.